Oh boy, it's finally here. The presidential debate. A rematch of 2020. President Joe Biden, who deserved to be president, versus Donald Trump, a former president that did not deserve to be president to begin with. And the fact he's still here, despite the crimes he committed, makes no sense, especially since he did nothing at the Republican primaries. Like the people at those primaries deserve to be the nominee, not him. But I mean, this is earlier than usual, but this should be an interesting one.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home.
What? No way. They get to control the microphone? That is actually genius. This is seriously, we found the solution that we never had in decades. Like, where was this in the Republican debates?
If you will give me 3 times the deduction in income tax, then I will look at your gas tax, which is why it didn't happen. Secondly, on the $50 billion.
Here is a nice part.
Secondly, on the curtains, do your homework, Tim, because Obama bought those curtains.
Did you send them back?
It's in the press.
Did you send them back?
It's the State Department.
Did
you send them back? You're the one that works in Congress.
Oh my gosh.
You get it.
You hung them on your curtains.
They were there before I even showed up at the residence. You are scrapping. You are scrapping. You know
Here's the fact, though.
But I cut taxes. I loaded up our
You wanted a gas tax increase, and then you wanted
We do not intend to go ahead like this. In fact, we're about to take a commercial break.
Name the provinces. You could even name the provinces about Eastern countries.
I think we've had enough of this. And Crimea.
Think about that. Let me just. It's actually Crimea is the wrong answer.
Right. The floor is Christie's.
All right. If we were in a courtroom, they'd strike the answer and say, Governor DeSantis.
No, they would.
They would say that. You're a smart man. No, they would.
No, they wouldn't.
They would
Chris.
strike the answer because you're not answering.
You just
is
don't like. You have your thing.
Is he fit or isn't he? No, I don't have my thing.
We don't.
He's the thing. Is he fit or isn't he? You're talking about him being 80 years old. Ron, is he fit?
Governor DeSantis,
Ron, is he fit or isn't he?
Governor DeSantis, let it
Ron, is he
I think we have an opportunity to do somebody who is in the prime of their life. We don't have to worry about all this stuff with confidence. We can get it done. We'll do it.
I'm going to come to you.
He's afraid to answer.
No, I'm not.
You have to either you're afraid or you're not listening.
No, it's not.
There's a simple question. Is he fit? Is he fit?
Hey, nobody can hear this. No one can hear you. They can't hear you.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Or better yet, the 2020 debate.
The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now. Make sure you, in fact, let people know you're a senator. I'm not going to answer the question because the question is radical left. Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Who's on your list?
Gentlemen, I think
this is so unprecedented.
He's going to pack the court.
I'm not going to give a list. We have ended.
Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do.
Something's not right with Biden. He's got to be sick or something, because He does not. He sounds way off. Like, I've heard better from him than this.
President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID.
Those mandates weren't horrible. Those mandates were necessary to protect all of us. Without those mandates, more people would get COVID and more people would die. And some didn't want to follow these guidelines, so of course those mandates have to take place. If they followed the procedures when it happened, we wouldn't have these mandates. It is harsh, but it made sense. Because once those mandates were put into place, things got better. So at least Biden did what he did to make COVID weak. Unlike you, who said it is a hoax that the Democrats are making up and politicizing and then calling it the Chinese virus.
Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that, right? Coronavirus. They're politicizing it. We did one of the great jobs. You say, how's President Trump doing? They go, oh, not good, not good. They have no clue. They don't have any clue. They can't even count their votes in Iowa. They can't even count. No, they can't. And this is their new hoax. But, you know, we did something that's been pretty amazing. We're 15 people in this massive country. And because of the fact that we went early, we could have had a lot more than that. We will do everything in our power to keep the infection and those carrying the infection from entering our country. We have no choice. Whether it's the virus that we're talking about or many other public health threats, the Democrat policy of open borders is a direct threat to the health and well-being of all Americans. Now, you see it with the coronavirus. You see it. But you don't hear them talking about COVID. COVID. To be specific, COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. It's a disease, without question, has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung Flu. I can name 19 different versions of names.
And let's not forget that this was your solution to stopping COVID.
Supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
So don't take credit for stopping COVID. You didn't do shit.
It's healthy. It's mostly water. And we're mostly water. Therefore, we are bleach.
We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it.
the vaccine went out, he did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job.
I never objected to COVID vaccine. Once it came out, I made sure I got it, and then I got a booster, then I got another one, and I'm gonna take another booster this year. Like, there's a reason why I worked with AM Trace and Full Contact Communications and canvassed around the city to help people get vaccinated against COVID. Because they needed to do it to protect themselves and others. And it's the best scenario to put an end to COVID. The more people take it, the better. Plus, we had greater access to places where people needed to get COVID vaccines. All we needed to do was either take them to a COVID vaccine bus or set them up at an appointment on a spot. No matter what it is, it's free.
It's free.
It made things easier for everyone. Plus, the only reason why more people died from COVID under Biden than under you is because you only had to deal with it for 1 year. 1 year. And that was when COVID was at its peak. Like, how many people were killed by COVID in 2020? Over 350,000. And that was in the span of 10 months. If we divide that by 10, it is 35,000 deaths per month. And if it was a full year, the total would have been 420,000 deaths. How many people were killed by COVID in 2021? 460,000. And if it wasn't for the mandates and vaccines, the numbers would be way higher. But after 2021, the deaths went down. 244,000 died from COVID in 2022, and 48,615 died last year. So the numbers went down over time, and more lives were returning to normal, all because of these mandates and vaccines. If Trump was president right now, the deaths would have increased instead of decreasing, and we would have been trapped for years.
We have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Oh boy, he drew a blank. That's not good. That's not going to help him.
51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted.
It was not a great decision, and not everyone wanted Roe v. Wade to die. Especially some of the women who wanted to get abortions. It is not a state issue. It is a personal issue. You took decisions, rights, away from women who aren't financially nor emotionally ready to take care of a child. With this move, they are forced to take care of that child. No questions asked.
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, You don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule.
Exactly. And if Trump is president again, it's going to happen. It's not going to be a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when. It shouldn't, though. No one should kill civil rights, and Roe v. Wade shouldn't have died.
Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing.
Stop blaming immigrants. It's not just immigrants raping women. It's also American citizens. It's not the person that's the issue. It's the principle.
The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
But most importantly, it's the decision of the women themselves. The woman should be the one to decide. Not the government, not doctors. The woman.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
There's no such thing as late-term abortions. There is nothing in Roe v. Wade supporting late-term abortions. If you kill the child after it's born, it's no longer abortion. It's murder. Abortion happens while the child is inside the mother. And they don't just kill it off just because.
51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Exactly. Roe v. Wade was a great law. It should be brought back. Abortion is a human rights issue, not a state issue, not a government issue, but a human issue.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
Hey, at least he's not talking bullshit, unlike you. And of course you would mock him for stuttering. You are racist, sexist, ableist dick. And to further prove my point, there was a moment where Biden met a kid once and talked to the kid and asked about the country. The kid stuttered and he apologized for stuttering. And what did Biden do? He said it is okay to stutter, and it isn't easy because it wasn't easy for Biden. He accepted the kid for who it is, no matter what problem it had, and it made the kid cry tears of joy. He inspired the kid. Unlike you, who mock people due to disabilities, which is so ableist and wrong. Hell, I know that by the time you're watching this video and know who I am, you're going to act like I'm the stupidest person in the world and make fun of me because I am autistic. Well, let me tell you right now, I may be autistic, but I am very successful. I accomplish so many things, even things that normal people cannot. And the reasons I said normal is because there is no such thing as normalcy. Normal is nothing but a social construct used by people to make themselves superior to others, which I don't use. And unlike you, I help out this country for the people, not for myself, but for others.
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, and his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration, killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
Exactly. And he is also racist against immigrants.
What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now.
Yeah, because of you corrupting Americans with radical, horrible, selfish views and lies.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
Yeah, tell him.
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one.
Exactly. And it's not just the general, but also John Kelly, your former chief of staff. And those 19 people are Trump supporters. Of course they're going to say you didn't say it. It's never you are wrong. It's everyone else that's wrong. And let's not forget you said this about the great John McCain, who was a prisoner of war.
I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay?
Rest in peace to that guy.
And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
Exactly.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire. Not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then do you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine and from weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Exactly. Putin, along with Kim Jong-un, Hamas, terrorist organizations, and dangerous authoritarian dictators gotta go. They care about power, control, and world domination. They need to be stopped.
As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
Hamas started the war. If Hamas didn't attack Israel, this war would never happen. Like, what is Israel supposed to do? Just get on their feet and allow themselves to get attacked? Hell no. If they are attacked, of course they're going to fight back. That's how it works.
On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. That what happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
I know you would do those things, Trump. Thanks for reminding us who you are and what you would do. I know you enjoy talking about yourself like the supreme being you are.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it, too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
Pelosi had nothing to do with this. And even if she did, your supporters attacked the Capitol because you lost. And you supported them. You supported violence, attacks, riots, and for what? The tweets are there. Don't deny it. That is not patriotic. It is wrong. No one should be attacked because someone lost an election.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in that dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. But he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court, and they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Exactly. What these people did on January 6th is wrong, unconstitutional, vile, and disgusting. They should be held accountable, and they should be punished for what they have done. And Trump did support it. The tweets proved it.
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people.
He didn't. It is those people themselves that destroyed their own lives. They were willing to burn the U.S. Capitol and kill everyone because their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, lost. None of them were innocent. Nothing they did was patriotic. It's communism, Nazism, and terrorism combined into one. Like, seriously, how people still support him makes no goddamn sense.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, turned over desks, turned them over statues. The idea that those people are patriots, come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? You denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things.
You can't talk about Hunter Biden just to shield criticisms for your actions. Like, sure, he is a convicted felon, but the difference is that he at least admitted he did horrible things, and although he was disappointed, he accepted the court's decision. The whole Biden family accepted the court's decision. There was no appeal, no fight back, just accept it and move forward, which is what you're supposed to do. President Biden himself even said he will not pardon his son. His son! When you fuck up and not even your family is there to save you, you know you fucked up badly and your punishment is justified. At least he took accountability and accepted his fate. Unlike you, who cannot accept accountability and say that the court is rigged and they were all Democrats and they put you here because they hate you.
This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Newsflash, asshole. You did something wrong. You fucked up. You lost. You have 34 counts. 34. Take the L and move on. Take accountability. Not once during this case, during January 6th, during the impeachments, during Charlottesville, with your tweets, have you said sorry. Not once. It's like it's the Democrats' fault. It's the court's fault. It's Stormy Daniels' fault for being a prostitute. It's the voters' fault for voting for Biden. It's everyone's fault. But yours. You are literally the biggest liar of all time. So much so that if the United States gained $1 for every lie you make, every blame you make, we have more money than Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Michael Jordan, and every single athlete combined. We have the money to help Ukraine win the war and eliminate Putin. We have the money to not only eliminate Hamas, but all terrorist organizations. Every problem would be solved not only in America, but the entire world. You have done exactly what I knew you would do. You are showing it right here. When I and other people tell you that you are the piece of shit, that you fucked up, and have the evidence to support it, you back it up with every damn speech, every tweet of you just blaming everyone except for yourself. Just take the damn L, take accountability, tell the world you fucked up, and move on to become a better person. The sooner you do that, the better. But I know you never will, because you're a piece of shit.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam.
Your poll numbers went up. That's what you've learned from this case. Poll numbers and money is all that matters. Not the fact that you fucked up with proof. 100% proof that you did it. But numbers and money. And the fact you got those numbers is just stupid. It's just stupid. An absolute joke. And you got those by corrupting and villainizing the people with lies. You taught them violence. By getting rid of Roe v. Wade, you're telling them that it's okay to rape women. It's okay to ruin a woman's life. It's okay to ruin relationship and marriage. It's not the woman who decides her body and children. It's everyone else. Seriously, I can go on and on about Roe v. Wade, but I already made a video reacting to the decision to eliminate it, so feel free to check that out. You already know where I stand on that. You made America go backwards, And if you become president again, America will become Russia.
And it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
I get it. You are a piece of shit. Thanks for reminding us.
What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas, torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides." What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? And this is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
Exactly. What happened in Charlottesville is wrong. The ones who cause violence and racist protests are evil, and they are not fine people. And Hitler did nothing right. I bet Trump was good friends with Marge Schott, who said that Hitler was good in the beginning. He just went too far. Hitler did nothing good. He is evil and he deserved to die. Unlike those innocent lives in Charlottesville, none of them deserve to die.
He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it.
Well, neither are you. The fact you are president and are running again is an absolute joke. At least Biden had government experience, especially being vice president of the great Barack Obama. What do you have? Business. That's it.
It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
It's not debunked. What happened in Charlottesville actually happened. Next thing you're going to tell us that the Holocaust didn't happen. But it did. It shouldn't have happened, but unfortunately it did. Stop lying with bullshit.
President Biden?
And debunk. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Exactly. When guys like Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, and even your own vice president, Mike Pence, tells you to stop and accept defeat, you are definitely in the wrong. There was a reason why Mike Pence refused to call the election, because it was unconstitutional. He knew that, and he told you no. That is the greatest thing Mike Pence has ever done, and he should get the respect he deserves because of it. He certainly got my respect.
Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening.
That's a fucking lie. He didn't call them super predators. Hillary Clinton was the one who called them super predators. At least she apologized and took accountability for saying that. Sure, it was 2016, but it's better late than never. Biden only warned us about the predators on our streets who were beyond the pale in support of the crime bill. And Biden said in 1997, and I quote, "When we talk about the juvenile justice system, we have to remember that most of the youth involved in the system are not the so-called super predators." So not only Biden did not call them super predators, but he said that the people are not super predators. Do your own research before talking shit about somebody.
President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
What the fuck does that mean? They didn't ask you what you did involving climate change. They asked, will you take any action to slow the climate crisis? Yes or fucking no. Plain English.
We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water, he hadn't done a damn thing with the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change. And he didn't do a damn thing about it. He must undo all that I've done.
Exactly. And I'm glad we got the Paris Accord back. It was a great act and we need to keep it.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster.
It was not a disaster. It was the right act. You admitted you wouldn't spend money because it's not worth it. It's not something for you to decide. It's the American people. And I say we should keep the Paris Accord. It's not about what you want. It's what America wants. Like, do I really have to post a video on my second channel educating your thick skull about the Paris Accord? Because I fucking will.
I have the biggest heart on the stage, I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people.
Bullshit.
But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
Joe, you really need to work on how you talk. You do make sense, but when you have a hard time speaking, I get you have a cold, but come on. You are better than this. I know you are better than this. You know why? Because I've seen better from you. I've heard better from you.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things, too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace.
Once again, thank you for telling us about yourself. Thank you for reminding us who you are. I know you love to talk about yourself. I know you spend every night talking yourself in the mirror about how great you are and how you admire the supreme being of you. Well, I bet you spend some of those nights looking at the mirror and spend more hours at the mirror to go fuck yourself. I bet you fuck yourself more than you fuck your own wife, who, by the way, is only with you for your money. If you weren't rich, she wouldn't be with you. But now that she has, she finally learned that money can't buy you happiness. And she is regretting being with you every single day. Like, I'm not kidding. Look at her every time she's with you. She is unhappy and wants to leave so badly. But she knows she can't, because once she leaves, she is broke. And even if she wasn't, she fears that if she leaves you, you would do everything to destroy her and make her feel bad for leaving you. Like, she is literally trapped in a loveless marriage because of you.
When I said suckers and losers, he said, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it.
He shouldn't have been fired. He shouldn't get fired for telling the truth. He deserves better.
By the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
I agree. I would definitely vote on that. Sure, I'm not a presidential scholar, but I am an expert on presidents, so that counts.
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him.
He did not lie. He was with you. You said it to his face that you didn't want to go because there were suckers and losers, and it will mess up your hair. He was not only your chief of staff, but also a military man himself. So when you talk shit about the dead soldiers who fought for us, you are not only talking shit about them, but you are also talking shit about John Kelly and all the living people fighting for us. He didn't get fired for doing a bad job. He got fired because he told the truth, and you can't handle the truth. You are seriously making it easy for you to lose.
If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
I get it. You are a piece of shit. Thanks for continuing to acknowledge yourself. Now why don't you go get a room with a mirror so you can go fuck yourself?
The idea that we're talking about worst presidents, I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history, one through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted.
Well, I did look it up. There were 154, not 159. And only a small percentage were historians. But other than that, you're right. They did rank Trump as the worst president. The proof is right here.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst. because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best.
Bullshit. The evidence is right here. You are the worst president. If you were the best, you'd be at the top, not the bottom. But you are at the bottom, which means you are the worst. Like, I don't know how you were taught graphs and poles as a kid, but fuck me. Also, Biden was ranked 14th. I wouldn't put him up there. I would put him in the middle, but definitely I'm not one of the worst. And you think you can beat guys like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln? Hell will freeze over first before that ever happens, which is where you belong.
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health.
Well, if you aced them, what was your score? What score did you get on those tests? Tell us your scores, and we will determine from there whether or not you aced them, because I can smell what The Rock is cooking, and that smell is bullshit. Especially the bullshit he got from you in WWE when you shit your pants from facing The Rock.
I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it.
It is also determined by the weather, the wind. You can make the perfect shot, and the ball goes the other way because of the wind.
He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them.
If you didn't do well, you aced them? What does that even mean? It's like saying that Biden only won because you lost. Which you would actually say, Biden is a winner, fair and square, and you have to do well at something to ace it. And judging by the oxymoron you made just now, you haven't aced them at all. You failed them. Like, a toddler can do better in those tests than you. People with disabilities can do better than you. Even people with Alzheimer's can do a better job on those tests than you. I bet the doctors lied because they support you.
Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you.
But what about the other? What did that doctor say? Better yet, what was your score? You are telling us you aced them, but you won't tell us your score.
President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
Shots fired! Hole in one!
Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody.
It was not a small amount. It was a huge amount. And you did support violence. Once again, your tweets never lie. Where's the tweet where you said, stop this? This is wrong. This is not the answer to election fraud. I do not condone these actions. Where? Exactly. There is none. Like, if I was running president and if I lost, and if my supporters were planning on doing this, I'd tell them to stop, not to do this. Because violence, because somebody lost, is wrong.
I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent.
Wrong! You were indicted because you committed crimes. You broke the law. You caused problems for your own personal gain. Just like the Stormy Daniels case and other cases you will have. They are not doing this because they hate you or oppose you. They did it because you did something wrong and you need to be disciplined for your actions. So stop lying and talk bullshit. Take accountability, own up to your mistakes, and apologize.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this with? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia. Because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked.
Will you accept the results of the election? Yes or no? This is not a rocket science question. This is not a rhetorical question. This is not a trick question. This is a simple question. Yes or no? All you have to do is say yes or no. Stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about the great things you have done. Stop attacking Biden. Stop thinking of yourself for once in your damn life and answer the fucking question.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that.
It's not about whether it is fair or not. It's about whether or not you accept the results. Yes or no. Plain English 101. By adding this, you just admitted that if the results are against you or unfair, that you would not accept the results. If you can't answer a simple question like this, we will all assume it is no. It's like if you are in a competition, like let's say Hell's Kitchen, and you are put on the chopping block and you have to defend yourself. If the host asks you who is the weakest person in the team or who deserves to go home, you have to answer. If you can't give a name, everyone will assume that the weakest person is you. And before you know it, you are out. Like, if Chris Christie was here, he'd be going after you for failing to answer a simple question. Biden has answered questions. Sure, he is slow, he stutters, and it takes a while for him to answer. But he does answer. You give him a yes or no question, he will say yes or no. That's simple. But you, every time you are asked a question, you either boast about the great things you have done, you make bullshit lies, or you attack Biden. Anything but answer the question. Like, even a toddler can answer a simple question faster than you.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
Exactly. I will tell you again, and I will continue to tell you until you do it. You lost! Take the L! Take accountability! Accept your losses and defeat! When things don't go your way, violence, hate, or canceling people doesn't make anything better. You have to deal with it, process it, and move on, just like the rest of us in this cruel, crazy, childless world.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
Oh, I was hoping this bit would keep going. What an interesting debate. Like Biden really struggled there, but he just one bad night. He's definitely recovering from a cold. I bet in the next debate he will do better. I know. I mean, he did bad, but Trump wasn't any better. He was worse. Like, this wasn't really about who did the best job. It was about who did the worst job, and Trump definitely did the worst. But I really love the idea about controlling the microphones. It is really good. Like, we need to have that for every election moving forward. Unless it is run by drama people, then they won't do it. But can't wait to see the next debate in September.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
He has a point.
Trump, let's be real. You have no business being here.
I have the biggest heart on the stage, I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people.
Are you worthy of being president again?
I will be the best. I think I'll be the best.
Hey, jackass. That's not what I asked you. Are you worthy of being president again? And why?
I want absolutely immaculate, clean water.
Listen, I know you are stupid. Are you worthy of being president again? And why?
Russia. They took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games.
Seriously, you want a fucking Medal of Honor? The Nobel Prize?
He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this with... He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia.
Listen, you fucking asshole. I asked you a simple question. Plain English. Are you worthy of being president again? And why? And you're mouthing bullshit and you couldn't answer me. Now, can you stop being a fucking egotistical asshole and answer the damn question? Are you worthy of being president again and why? Plain English. It's that fucking clear.
If it's fair and legal, absolutely.
Thank you. Unfucking believable. One simple question. Are you worthy of being president and why? And you're making a fucking song and dance about it.
I ain't no fucking bitch. I don't give a fuck. I ain't no bitch. I'm not no bitch.
He's trying to bring the best out of you. You gotta look past that.
Bring the best out of me.
Yeah, show some respect.
Shut your fucking mouth. What you should do right now.
Come on, man.
I'm talking here. I don't give a fuck about you.
Jesus Christ.
You signed up to fucking learn and grow and do this, dude.
Okay. Answer the fucking question.
Keep talking like this out in the fucking parking lot. I don't give a fuck. What do you want me to say?
I asked the questions. You give us the fucking answer.
Fuck that shit, dog. I ain't here for that. You wanna talk some shit? Let's go step outside, motherfucker. I ain't here for that, dog. You wanna talk about fucking fighting?
Oh, wow.
You wanna get fucking rough?
You think I'm scared of you? Huh? Look at you. You just, fuck the cameras.
Yeah?
I'm still here. I've asked you one simple question. Are you worthy of being president again? And you couldn't answer the damn question. And you want to get all tough and up close and personal.
Fuck you.
There we go.
You ain't nothing but a bitch.
You got no fucking respect.
No respect.
Get the fuck off the stage.
Fuck you. You fucking bitch. Fuck all y'all. You heard it?
What a fucking idiot. Total fucking bullshit.